Hang in there, it is! Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Welcome back to The Smylie Show, where, Smylie, we are recording this actually just a night after the last episode we did together in the wake of the Hero World Challenge, the thrilling finish of the Crown Australian Open. We had Rasmus Nørgaard-Petersen join the show to break down that win, what he loves so much about Royal Melbourne. But we're doing some traveling in the next couple of days and weeks. In fact, I'm going to see our guy, the Dew Sweeper, briefly down in Florida.
I've seen him next week too, so make sure you pass along the good vibes and the good intel to where I can come away with some good feels.
What are you taking down? What's on your checklist of things to work on?
I can't remember what we worked on the last lesson. That's the problem. I actually need to go back and watch our YouTube video we did with him, because I remember the last time I happened to watch it, I'm like, oh, I should just do that, whatever we were working on. Dude, I honestly have gotten to the point now with my golf game this time of the year that I'm better off just not even touching a golf club, because I'm as soon as I start thinking about it, then I'm like, ooh, I want to go hit balls and go play golf. When in reality, it's just not going to go well. It's going to be cold. I'm not going to be necessarily flushing out of the middle. And if I am, it's like, all right, there's going to be good shots, bad shots. It's much more of an exercise at this time of the year.
Yeah. I agreed on conditions. We're both in dormant Bermuda territory for the most part. It's strange because even at the end of that video with Tony, I was like, we had something going there. And then I immediately either abandoned it or forgot it. I had this phenomenon recently where I was just scrolling through all of my entire library of photos from the top. And it's amazing tracking your golf swing where every fifth video, I was like, God, I used to swing it so good. That's such a good position. And then the other four, I look like it's the first time I ever played the game of golf. And I need to just string together just that 20% across the 12 to 15 year timeline that my iPhone library goes back, and just figure out how to recapture that. But maybe Tony will have some hot.
I love doing that on an airplane.
It's
just
great.
going back and looking at videos from I go back all the way to 2016, and I'll just start from there, and then I'll just kind of go year to year, be like, oh, I could see why, or even at times I'll say, gosh, I should have played better with this golf swing. Like, it was actually pretty good, and then I'll get to another year, I'm like, I don't know how I kept playing the game with this swing. It just.
You're like, why didn't I just delete this video immediately? What is this still doing on my phone? I didn't need to ever see that swing ever again.
It's wild, because I went through a lot of different swing teachers and theories and how to swing the golf club. There was times where I'm like, man, I probably should have hit it a lot better than I did, because this swing's pretty dang good. So I had mixed. I get mixed feelings when I go back and look.
We're gonna have some. Well, maybe I'll see if he can't get some video of both of us. We can share the results on the show. I think he's gearing up for the Jingle Bell. Is this Jingle Bell season?
Last season for it.
God,
last one ever.
So sad to see it go. But good run it had. So where we do need to go on this show is just a few extra things we were not able to cover as part of that recap of the hero of the Australian Open. Had a lot to talk about there, performance-wise, player-wise. But there have been a lot of other storylines in the world of pro golf these past couple of weeks that are happening off the course, so to speak, but they have a huge impact on the shape of pro golf that we're going to see in the future. And really, I think the biggest one at this point is we saw Tiger Woods, while not playing the Hero World Challenge, as the tournament host, sitting up on that podium in his yearly press conference he has, and talking about this year specifically his place on the future competition committee. And so, Smylie, we live in the age of Chat GPT, AI. I'm a pretty transparent producer, researcher here on the Smylie Show. And here's what I did: is I took all of Tiger's answers on this specific topic, fed them to the Chat GPT, and said, look, I just want you to boil this down for me so we have some easy talking points. What has this competition committee already done or is in progress, and what is Tiger committing this committee will do in the future? I think that's a good starting point for us to delve into this conversation. So they have already held 3 meetings for the future competition committee. They've evaluated, in Tiger's quote, so many different models and torn them down, looked at other alternatives. They've consulted a number of different stakeholders in this process: title sponsors, CMOs, CEOs, tournament directors, media partners, trying to gather from all of those groups what they want to see in this new and improved PGA Tour.
Okay, so quick question as you keep going. So private equity was not mentioned in that? Like, was SSG mentioned in that whole little chat GPT rundown there? Because I'm be curious, that's where a lot of people's minds would go as you kind of further on in this discussion with the future of the tour. Is what does private equity want out of this? Like, where do they want to see it go?
I would assume strongly that whether or not they were named the private equity, the SSG was one of the stakeholders involved. In fact, I think
did you see Utah is getting involved with private equity, like the university? Did you read that today?
Oh, you're talking about like private equity groups, essentially underwriting university athletic programs.
Yes,
that's been the worst for years, dude. And it's just now coming to fruition.
Hate that.
Are you? I mean, this is a real tangent off of where we are in golf, but I just
we could be heading that way.
But I am not for this. This is the first year of college football. Maybe it had to do with my head coach and the surrounding things. My head coach, the University of North Carolina. But this is the first year where I was like, I'm losing some of the joy here. Like they're starting to, I don't know. I don't want to be one of these old curmudgeon guys that, NIL and the portal and everything, but it's starting to, it's not what it was.
Magic's just slowly kind of getting dumped out in it.
Yeah. And you got Lane Kiffin coming your way. You got the Magic coming to town.
I'm excited. I'm excited, but still there's a lot of college football that I hate. That's not nearly the same as what it used to be. But I don't mind that schools that have never been competitive that are good, like Vanderbilt's really good at football now. And like rewiring my brain to see teams that haven't been good be good is weird. But I totally got you off of sidetracked here. Please continue. Sorry.
Back to the Chat GPT generated summary of Tiger Woods' commitments on that future competition committee. So I think maybe the biggest part of what he said to me that departs from what we've seen in the past on similar discussions was he's kept players informed about possible changes and solicited player opinions. I know that was a big thing of some of the potential shifts and partnerships that the tours were looking into in the past few years that players felt like they didn't have enough input. So that's been a key part of the future competition committee process and Tiger's process. And then, of course, he said he's committed to transparency throughout the process. Shall I stop there, Smylie, or do you want me to kind of start rolling into the things that the future competition committee has planned?
Why don't you go that way? Because then I'll have some thoughts off of that.
So the goal is to assemble a reduced fan-first schedule and product that maximizes quality and economic upside. The targeted introduction is 2027, but they're working actively with partners to make sure that's a feasible timeline. They're working on a rollout approach, and the two different proposed are either ripping the Band-Aid off with a full change, a newly revamped schedule. We heard Harris English talking a little bit about this that led up to Tiger's comments, 20 to 22 events for the entire season. So that'd be a full reset into that model, or a kind of stage change over a number of seasons and years. They would be looking to optimize the calendar timing, and one of those options is to start the season after the Super Bowl so as to not compete with football in the TV calendar, and then define the sort of start and finish windows for these tournaments and set these tentpole events throughout the year to maximize viewership and fan engagement. There's another goal to simplify the FedEx Cup point structure, because that's been obviously difficult in past iterations to follow on a week-to-week basis. There's also a goal, as noted with those 20 to 22 events, to implement a level of scarcity, fewer of these events, so there should be more demand to watch those events when they are on. And then creating additional playing opportunities. This is a big one, right? Because with less events, there are less of those playing opportunities. Creating more of those other parts of the golf calendar, whether that's other places around the world, whether that's, in a fall part of the calendar on a tour that's completely separate or different from the PGA Tour. So the scarcity at the top is not limiting those overall opportunities. So that is the summary, the rundown of what Tiger had to say to Hero. And Smylie, I wonder how you reflect on both what he said and just some of the rumblings and things you've heard from players, people in the know on tour the past couple weeks as to the direction that we are going with this.
This season is about coming together, sharing moments.
We're going to go with the over tonight.
And celebrating what connects us. It's lighting the candles, gathering like a team, and finding joy in every night. 8 nights of tradition, 8 nights of celebration, 8 chances to shine. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
I see the Lions making it when it's all said and done. I talked to Brady Cannon about this. We were doing our show on Sunday night. I think the Bears are just a season early. I think they're a year early in their development. They are winning games, and they still have a negative point differential. The turnovers are keeping them afloat. That's just not sustainable when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job. Next year will be the year they truly take a lead.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen. When the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback, it's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's like out with the old and in with the new. I mean, this has all the makings of what we've kind of heard rumored for a long time, which is going to a much tighter schedule throughout the year, 20 to 25 events instead of this 8 signature event model, going to something that's more the 20 to 25, which is every event being worth the same amount, whether that's money or points. There's not this just weird sliding scale of signature events being worth more than another PGA Tour event, which has always been kind of weird to kind of weight the difference between or unlike events, or less players or more players, 144 versus 70 players. So I think what Roll-Up has figured out is that the PGA Tour, as he looks at it in a whole, is that there's different levels to it. It's always been that way. And I think he wants to get to where the PGA Tour is a much more condensed schedule, doesn't compete with football. And I think you can make arguments on that. I think some players might disagree about, hey, we don't really care about the ratings in January. We like playing in Hawaii. There's players that like to play a lot at the beginning of the year, and there's players that like to play a lot because they like to make money, because that's their way of making money. It's when they tee it up and make cuts. So I think you'll see a lot of disagreements from players in regards to that. But when we look at the future of the PGA Tour, there's things that I do agree with this. I do think that sometimes it gets like week after week after week, and you're just like, oh man, this week's got no juice. It doesn't have a good field. And I think they would be kind of cool where every single time you turn on an event for a PGA Tour event, man, it's like, oh gosh, who's playing good this week? And you know all the names, and I'm not saying that because I do believe that a guy like Michael Brennan should be able to play his way onto a tour, and it shouldn't take him 4 years to do it. So I do believe in, relegation and being able to get players to go up and down. And I don't want it to be a closed shop, because I don't believe in it, because I was rewarded the opportunity with the old system, and that I got to reap the benefits of moving up quickly and finding my way into some of the best events. So I don't want that to go away. But I do believe that the PGA Tour has, I should say, where they go and play problem. I think the markets sometimes are too small, and there's nothing wrong with some of these small markets that we play in. There's so much history in these places, and they're well supported, but the purses typically in these places are not, they've changed a little bit. They're not crazy good. doesn't mean it's not a lot of money for these guys to play for. And I love these places, but I don't see that they might have a seat at the table in a future PGA Tour signature event model. I think going to places that are big markets that we currently aren't I think is going to be something that Roll Up looks at. But I do believe that 27 is doing this in 2027. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. And that's not from like the PGA Tour could approve all this and they might be able to find the sponsors. But I have a question on the networks. I really do, because these networks have deals that have changed. I mean, just think about all since they did this deal, we've had a new tour come about in Live Golf Tour. So we're talking about the PGA Tour rights deal with the networks. And in a lot of these deals, I'm not saying I'm a lawyer, but I do know that there is something in these contracts that talks about having the best players in the world on the PGA Tour. And you could debate, it's like, hey, we don't have all of the best players on the PGA Tour anymore because some of them are at the Live Golf Tour. Are we getting our money back for not having all of the best players anymore? And so that's kind of gone by the wayside. I don't think it's quite as much of an issue as it has been because they've been able to keep Scotty Scheffler and the ratings are good, or they're good this year. They weren't the last year, but last year there was a lot of executives that probably were like, these red numbers that say 20% down is not good. We do not like this at all. Something has to change. And so I would say that learning about the TV business from just generally from agents and how they talk about it, networks are in it for volume and they want live golf on. And so going to a 20 to 25 event model is not something that is just going to be like, the networks are just going to be super stoked about it. It may help their ratings like every other week, but networks like volume and they want people to be programmed to go and turn on the TV on a Sunday and know that the PGA Tour is on. So recalibrating the viewer's mind and then not having live golf or live sports on is something that they desperately want to have. So it's what every network is trying to get into in the sports game, is having the rights to show live sports. So I know that's kind of a lump sum of kind of everything that I'm feeling and vibing with. There's kind of some good, there's some bad, but what do you take from all that?
Well, it's a lot to unpack, and it is kind of funny just in reflecting on the tangent we took in the middle of the tee up towards college football, but how there are some connections to what's happening here, what's happening to college football, in the sense that the tour, a lot of what the tour has become over time, there are a lot of these idiosyncrasies that don't necessarily lend to the strongest, most sellable television product or the formatting of events and field entries that make the most sense. But there's this sort of quirky charm about that's made the tour what the tour is, for a number of years. Monday qualifiers, things like that. And we're
giving back to the communities and charity dollars.
That's right.
Like that used to be the forefront of the PGA Tour.
It's the whole, the economic thing in which it ran on as a nonprofit.
It was nonprofit, right?
And now even that's changing with the introduction of the SSG and the formation of PGA Tour Enterprises. But like even looking at college football now, where they've been so hard after this playoff structure and the television dollars that are associated with that they've killed this quirky, lovable thing about it, bowl games. Like you have Notre Dame opting out of a bowl game alongside a number of other teams, and people, now there's a whole slew of 5 and 7 teams that are playing bowl games that nobody cares about. And you're looking at this whole thing and saying, how long can this really exist before the whole thing comes crashing down? And I think the PGA Tour, it's interesting. It's a very different proposition for Brian Rolapp than where he's come from with the NFL, where if you have an idea that's going to improve the value of the overall product and as a trickle-down effect of that, franchise value, all these sorts of things, the ways that the owners who own these franchises are making money, if you could put together a compelling business plan and get all 32 of those guys in the room and sell them on that, then it doesn't really matter what the players think or the fans think to a certain degree. You just say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the way we're shifting and changing.
for those of you who have never watched, we could easily just call it true or false, but we got creative because that's what we do. We create content here on the show. We call it buy or sell. Tucker will lead the Bucks in touchdowns this season. I never, ever would have thought that this would even be a buy or sell, but here we are.
It had to be frustrating last night that he stole the one, right? Got the goal line carry there. I don't know when he became the goal line back, but he is. That being said, this is a pretty easy buy for me. I mean, he's got 6. Rashad White has 4. You want to guess how many Bucky Irving has, Craig? How many touchdowns do you think Bucky Irving has this year? You're close. You're close. He's got 1.
Yeah, easy buy. Yeah, they're using him near the goal line too. I did see some metrics that said that Irving has a hard time getting in the end zone, by the way. When it's close, he usually scores from outside, so it does appear that Tucker will lead the team in touchdowns this season. All right, 2 players that are going to be drafted inside the top 5 in fantasy. I probably could say, honestly, George, inside the top 3 in the first round of fantasy football next year. Jahmyr Gibbs will have a higher ADP than Bijan Robinson next season.
Gibbs, I think, is close to your number 1 next year. I do. I think we'll trust him more than McCaffrey because he stays healthy. I'm sure in PPR, when he catches so many balls, so does McCaffrey. But we're going to love the Detroit offense here. I don't think you can go wrong with any of these guys, by the way. All right, I'd be happy with all of them. But I think me personally, if I had, if it was Gibbs, McCaffrey, which I think is really your 1-2 there, I'm going Gibbs.
No, and I think I think next year's number 1 fantasy draft pick, it's not that it's going to be bad. I just think there's a lot of variation going into next year. I could see any of 3 or 4 players as of right now going number 1. I would have said Jonathan Taylor, but he slowed down.
Fantasy Sports Today. Friday, starting at 3 p.m. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, guys, we promised you a special guest for the upcoming Golf Channel Games, which is happening next week down in South Florida. We have Steve Sands from the Golf Channel joining us today. And without further ado, let's send it to Steve. All right, guys, welcome in Stevie Sands from the Golf Channel, New Versant Company. So, wow. Stevie, we got quite an event coming up with the Golf Channel Games. Stevie, you're going to be play-by-play. Keith Mitchell, analyst for the week. We're also going to have myself down on the ground with facts. Wags is going to be out there. Pretty excited about the Golf Channel Games. I think the longer this thing has kind of gotten drawn out to where we kind of had some meetings, kind of know what's going on with the thing. I think it'd be cool. See, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I look, this time of year, Smylie, I think a lot of people have tried different things. There was a skins game, resurrecting that a couple of weeks ago over Thanksgiving, and we've seen matches before. I think this is a little bit of a competition with the best players in the world like Scotty and Rory, and also a little big break, if you will. If you remember the going over a wall and that kind of thing, maybe we'll have some broken glass and stuff like that, like the big break did. I think it's going to be cool, and I think it's fun to try different things this time of year, Smylie, and I'm excited to be with you. And by the way, the greatest thing that could happen of all is that it's just a little on the cool side so that Keith can wear a cashmere sweater. If it's too warm for cashmere, that wouldn't be good.
That's a good point. Have you had an opportunity to talk to Keith in advance of this Golf Channel Games? I mean, it's different than live golf because, it's potentially an entertainment aspect of this, and there's a chance that you guys might be doing some tap dancing. You don't really know because we haven't really done a ton of this either. We're so used to just live golf and what that presents every week. But have you had a chance to speak with him?
Oh, yeah. We've never done anything like this. I mean, I never have. And I've been doing this a long time. And I think it's going to be kind of fun. And I think it's going to showcase some personalities like yourself and Brad and Johnson Wagner. And I think Keith is excited about it. I mean, he's a current PGA Tour player. He's a very good player. He's won on the PGA Tour like yourself. But I did tell him the other day, I said, Keith, there's nothing in the world more motivating for a golfer than to spend a little time in the booth. I can promise you that. I go, your game is going to be so much better after doing TV for a week, because who the heck would want to do TV when you can actually go out there and compete against the best players in the world? But he's excited about it. I think his energy is going to be great. He knows the guys. He's a contemporary. And I think he's going to bring a lot of personality to the show. And the tap dancing part could take place, but we're really hoping, Smylie, as you know, each and every week with us, whether it's on NBC or Golf Channel, you know, timing matters, my man. I hope the timing is right.
Oh, I know that all too well. I think back to when I think it was Camilo was in the booth with you and Wyndham, and he had the mic, the headset. The mic was all the way up at the top of his forehead, and there's that cool video of you just kind of inching it down. It's like, all right, buddy, I got you. You're good to go. You can start talking.
As you know, Smylie, and we got to spend a lot of time together on Sunday when Brad wasn't able to go, and you joined us in the booth, which was great. I'm a painfully casual guy, very easygoing, and sometimes that comes across in the wrong way. But hopefully in that instance, it came across in the correct way, just kind of helping our man Camilo out.
I got you.
We got you. We
got your Rook. We got your rookie. We'll get you dialed in here.
By the way, he went and won, in the fall. So I reminded Keith of that. After he was in Greensboro with us, I said the same thing to him that I said to Keith. Nothing will motivate a golfer more than spending time with us on the dark side. And he goes out and wins in the fall, which was just an amazing moment.
I think it's just that perspective that it gives these guys. They get in, they're like, oh, well, everybody kind of hits it in the same spot. You know what? I think I'm a little too hard on myself in this. And you're right. Wouldn't be surprised, especially with Key's talent, to see him go out and have some success early on that West Coast. But looking at the teams here, Sandsy, I think it's kind of interesting because the dynamic still exists between Scotty and Rory, the two of the best players in the world. But also, I'm interested in this storyline with Luke Donald and Keegan Bradley, as they're not captains in this particular event, but they recently went up against each other in captaincy at the Ryder Cup. And Luke Donald seemingly has pulled every string the correct way for Europe in the last two Ryder Cups. Meanwhile, Keegan in captaincy in his first top 15 player of the world, no doubt, could or should have been on that team and would have made a difference in that team winning. I don't know. But still, we've both read all the transcripts. We've had opportunity to speak with Keegan briefly. I think playing has helped him kind of get back into play mode versus still reliving the Ryder Cup a little bit. But still, anytime you get into an environment like this where it's a made-for-TV product, like Rory, Shane, Luke Donald, there's going to be something that's said that I don't know if Keegan is quite over it to be able to just not say something back at him to be frustrated, right? Like, do you think it's quite gone yet?
There's no way, as well as we know Keegan, as competitive as Keegan is, as much as Keegan cares, there's no way he's over it just yet. You know that phrase, too soon? Too soon. It's too soon.
Interesting to see in that Big 12. We keep talking about it. With Houston, with Iowa State, with Kansas, with BYU. They're going to be battle tested, but so is the rest of that league. And man, that is going to be fun to watch.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is, right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This season is about coming together, sharing moments.
We're going to go with the over tonight.
And celebrating what connects us. It's lighting the candles, gathering like a team, and finding joy in every night. 8 nights of tradition, 8 nights of celebration, 8 chances to shine. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, All Team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Luke just turned 48 last weekend. He's won 2 Ryder Cups as a captain. He never lost as a player as far as a team aspect went from the European side. He's Mr. Ryder Cup over on the European side. I mean, literally the most successful player / captain in the history of the Ryder Cup. So, Luke is playing with house money. Doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's a big, smack talker. No. I would imagine that wouldn't happen. They go about their business very, very differently. I mean, Luke is a very kind of chill dude, understated. Keegan's more energetic and is out there. But I would imagine if somebody decided to say something, say Rory,
Shane's a fire plug.
Shane, who knows? Who knows with Hao Tung Lee? You never know with Hao Tung Lee. I think that I can imagine Keegan giving a little side eye, a little stink eye over there to what'd you just say kind of thing. Definitely too soon for Keegan. As far as Luke goes, Smylie, I saw Luke a few weeks ago. He all smiles. I mean, my gosh, he's walking on clouds right now, just basking in the glow of being a European hero. So the biggest decision he has to make is what he's going to buy his family for Christmas, and is he going to take the captaincy again in Ireland in 2 years?
That's a great question. And, the 2 guys at the top with Scotty and Rory, it's cool that these guys have an opportunity to be captains, as of course, both of these guys will be future Ryder Cup captains down the line. But looking at their season, CV, we talk about Scotty. It seems like in every on camera, every opener throughout the show, we're always constantly looking at history to compare Scotty to whether it be Tiger Woods or the other best in the world to ever do it. And then Rory McIlroy having a season in which he completes the Grand Slam. It's kind of fun to end this season with 2 guys that really are in the top of the game and at the conversation of continuing to cement themselves in legacy. I think the European side with Rory, right? Like him winning the Grand Slam and the amount of success he's had on the DP World Tour, winning that championship however many times in the Race to Dubai. It's pretty cool that we're getting these guys in this environment, and I'm excited about next year too with these 2.
Oh, it's going to be great. I mean, they're in the primes of their career. Rory has finally gotten that hump off his back after 11 Masters, trying to win the career Grand Slam. He's only the 6th player to do it. And now here we are entering 2026. Jordan still has a chance. Nobody talks about him at the PGA Championship at Aronimink. He'll have another chance outside of Philadelphia to join that club. And then Scotty will be the odds-on favorite. And we were on the air the other day, Smylie. I did not know. Terry Gannon told us Sunday, Father's Day, U.S. Open, Shinnecock is Scotty's birthday. Yep. And he could become the 7th guy to win the career Grand Slam. Could be the 8th if Jordan wins the PGA 4 weeks before him. So between Scotty and Rory, Smylie, they're such great players. They're so motivated. They're so focused on what they do. And I think that they will bring an entertainment value to the Optum Golf Channel games, but they'll also bring a lot of skill. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I've always said to you before, one of the great things about you and all the other great PGA Tour players who have won before or who are still trying to win for the first time, you guys aren't just professional golfers. We learned this during COVID. You and I are huge sports fans. We talk about sports and family more than we ever talk about golf when we're together personally having a few drinks or having dinner. Fans matter. Energy matters. And when we saw that during COVID and we saw sports being performed without the fans, there was a missing element to sports on all levels. And what these guys learned more than anything, in my opinion, is that they're not just professional golfers, they're performers. You guys go out there, you don't even realize it, Smylie. You guys go out there every week and you're showing off because you're so great at what you do to people who play the sport or just love the sport and are just in awe at watching the best players on the planet. So I think seeing Scotty and Rory mic'd up, showing some personality that they normally wouldn't show when they're focused on trying to win a PGA Tour event or a major championship, with some skills And like we talked about, a little bit of that big break element, it takes them out of their element a little bit. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see those two in particular, how they go about their business, the seriousness of competing, and also the joy of being able to just kind of let loose a little bit and have some fun.
We were laughing at the Hero World Challenge when Scotty's just absolutely mother effing himself, and we're like, this
great.
It's like this guy just won how many times the last 2 years, and has this huge lead in the world ranking in the first, or I should say, in the OWGR, and he's first by a mile, and this guy still is just so competitive that it doesn't matter if it's considered to be a silly season event down in the Bahamas. This guy cares about every single shot, which made me think about, man, this could be just ping pong, 4v4, and he's going to get fired up for it. He's a high competitive player. So is Rory. And it's a reason why he's the best in the world at what he does. And what I was going to ask you was, have you noticed a difference in how Scotty Scheffler has, I wouldn't say treated the media, but noticing any tendencies that remind you at all of Tiger Woods when he eventually, maybe from that 2000 year and beyond, where you started noticing Scotty and Tiger showing any similarities when it comes to the media and how he's handled it?
For sure. I love that you asked that. For all those years when I was I was always in the booth, and then I would go down to the interviews for NBC. And now I'm now I'm just in the booth, not doing the interviews. But during that time, Smylie, that was the Tiger heyday. Rory was coming along. Phil was in his heyday. All these great, great players, coming around and hanging around. But at the top of that list was always Tiger. And one of the things I always used to say to people all the time is nobody handles his responsibility more of being the number one player in the world in the face of the game when he's competing than Tiger. I'm talking about when he gets out of his car until he gets into his car. And that includes the media obligations. That includes the TV, the podcast, the radio, the newspaper guys, all that kind of stuff. He knew that that was part of the job. Scotty understands that that's part of the job as well. He might not love it as much because every time he does anything, being who he is, it's going to either be scrutinized, criticized, or praised, but however it is, it's always going to be on. And that's what comes with the territory of being such a great player. And the one similarity I will give you between the two of them, which I find so fascinating and I absolutely love it, they do not play fools. If you don't ask a good question, they will let you know, not in a rude way, not in an abrasive way, but they'll just let you know that they are giving you excellence and they demand excellence from you. And I love that. They understand that the cameramen, the audio people, the writers, the TV people, everybody involved, this is the highest level of sports. This is network television. This is national TV, worldwide, global audience. These are the best people on and off the air, and the writers are included in that. Those people are the best golf writers in the world. And if they don't ask a good question, or if a TV person doesn't ask a question that Scotty thinks is a smart question or a good question, he is not afraid, Smylie. Oh, what do we have here? I love it.
Hey, Anna Carter.
I love
Say hey to
it.
Stevie. She's
Anna Carter, how are you? You know what? You look like a brand new older sister right now. I can promise you that. I love it.
Say hey, Stevie.
All right, how are you, sweetheart?
Okay.
Great to see you. I'll see you in Hilton Head. We'll get some tacos together in Hilton Head.
Oh my gosh, how good was that?
Baby.
What was the name of that joint?
Gosh. Oh man, I wish I knew. Oh, what is the name of that place?
They got
But
coffee.
anyway,
They got a coffee and tacos.
Oh man, it was so good. But anyway, so Scotty, I love that Scotty will let someone know if he doesn't think the question is that great, and not in a rude way, but he'll do it, Smylie, in a congenial way that he basically is saying to you, "Come on, man, really? Like that's not good enough. That's not smart enough. We're better than that." And I love that. And Tiger was the same way. It's a fantastic way to be.
Do you think it's the job of the top players in the world to have an opinion on whether it's growing the game or just general opinions that fans are looking for answers for the top players? I think Rory, for the most part, has kept an open mind and always tried to speak his heart and what he feels about things, where I find Scotty to be much more in the business like of, hey, just ask me about the tournament this week, where Rory's maybe on the other side of the coin, where I think the press have probably felt a little bit more. I would say that they would ask Rory and they feel like they would get an answer back. Where maybe with Scotty, it's like, hey, you might not get a whole lot back from this.
Here's the problem. When Joe Dumars blows it up and trades Zion, who is going to give them anything more than 25 cents on the dollar for a damaged goods superstar who misses significant time, who doesn't love the game, but is built like a freight train? Problems are in New Orleans, and I don't know how it gets fixed.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
There are a million ways to make money on this. There really is. Right? Like, I sit back. We've given you a couple of ours that we've given you. I think they're all going to win, essentially. The gold one, the Google Views one. The only one I might not win, Cam, that I gave people was, will the U.S. government announce that aliens exist in 2026?
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. They do. Well, somebody's got money.
In this economy,
they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I see the Lions making it when it's all said and done. I talked to Brady Cannon about this. We were doing our show on Sunday night. I think the Bears are just a season early. I think they're a year early in their development. They are winning games, and they still have a negative point differential. The turnovers are keeping them afloat. That's just not sustainable when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job. Next year will be the year they truly take a lead.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I think it's incumbent upon the media to understand the athlete. I think that, I have a phrase, I say it to my sons all the time, you got to know your audience. That's sports TV. You got to know your audience, got to know your audience. So, Tiger used to say to me all the time off camera, I'm getting asked questions from the Masters to Nelson Mandela. Like, I'm getting political questions. I'm getting social questions. I'm getting sports questions. I'm getting asked my opinion on the Super Bowl. And then all of a sudden golf comes in to the middle as well. Tiger understood it, knew it, and handled it well. Mickelson was kind of like that as well. McIlroy was the next one in that category, and he, very bright, understood it, knew the deal, and would give, good answers in that regard, and would also have some worldly opinions. Scotty is brand new to this. Remember, Smylie, he just won less than 4 years ago, was his first ever win. First win was less than 4 years ago. So you're talking about the 2022 WM, Phoenix Open. So he's kind of new at this, although obviously he's grown up before the world in these last 4 years, these spectacular 4 years that he's had. He knows what he knows what he's thinking. He's not afraid to give an opinion. He's more so interested in giving opinions on golf, right, and all the things going on in the world of golf. But as he continues, I can promise you this, Smylie, whether it was you or Scotty or anybody else, if you go on a run that Scotty's on and you're going to get into that different stratosphere, into Rory's stratosphere, into Tiger's stratosphere, you're going to get asked everything. I remember your guy from LSU, David Toms, told me years ago, he won the PGA Championship in Atlanta. All right. And he was asked, I don't know, like 2 months later, he was asked by writers about something that was going on in the world that had nothing to do with golf. That afternoon, I was talking to him. We were walking the fairways, and he was looking at me. He goes, so because you win a major, does that mean you get asked all these different things outside of the world of golf? And I said, yep. I said, once you reach a certain stratosphere in sports, that gets you beyond getting asked questions about just your sport or any sport. And Scotty is certainly in the throes of that. I am a firm believer that fans want to hear from their favorite athletes. They also want to hear from their athletes who they don't particularly care for as well. You know, whether you were Jack or Arnie, whether you were Tiger or Phil, that kind of thing. And I think people just like to hear from you guys. And the best of them all, they understand that, and Scotty certainly understands that.
What golfer do you think has handled the media the best? If you had to put somebody at the very top of somebody you're like, man, I got a lot of respect for how they were able to handle not only just the general questions of golf, but also the tiptoeing the line, the political answers of being very sharp and giving good, thoughtful, honest answers, but also, not towing the line the wrong way.
Yeah, I used to joke with Tiger all the time. It's okay to tell them, what you had for dinner last night, but you don't have to tell them where you ate. I used to tell Tiger that all the time. I think of today's players, of today's stars, if you go back in time, nobody was better with the media than Jack and Arnie. Nobody. They understood you want them on your side. You don't want to give them everything, but you want to give them enough that they're going to give you a pass if you have a hiccup, here or there down the road. I think the best players understand that. Today's players, look, Scotty's always accessible, but he doesn't give you as much per se as, say, a Jordan Spieth. I think Jordan Spieth, to me, and Justin Thomas are the two who give the most and aren't afraid. Now, that doesn't mean Scotty doesn't give enough. That doesn't mean Rory doesn't give enough. I just mean if you're going to take the combination of great player, Hall of Fame kind of player, and success on the golf course regularly, getting interviewed regularly, and not being afraid to give your opinion, and not just about whether we need to roll the ball back. I would say Jordan Spieth right now. I think Justin has grown into that role here in the last few years. But I think Jordan Spieth has handled that amongst the players today in that stratosphere better than anybody.
Okay, last question for you, Stevie. As we kind of head towards a potential of a 20 to 25 event season, does that are you concerned at all about that, on how that potentially could work out for the PGA Tour long term, or do you think that's a model in which you could see working? Because it's definitely not the old school traditional model of golf on every week and having a bunch of guys having opportunities.
No, it's different for sure. For the purposes of the conversation, Smylie, I'm here in Naples, Florida at the Grant Thornton Invitational. I just spent about 6 hours on the golf course talking to every player in the field. That's the men and the women, the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour, and that's all anybody was talking about. The executives, the tournament organizers, the sponsors, and all the players and all the caddies, that is all anybody is talking about. Here's my opinion. Before LIV came around, before COVID hit, so let's say all the way up to the players of 2020, was the model broken? Were things bad? Were things going pretty well? Fully sponsored tour, everybody's playing for a lot of money, everybody's doing great. TV was happy, players are happy, sponsors are happy. I don't know. I think the LIV thing upended things for sure. It wasn't handled great. Some things were handled well, some things were handled poorly, but overall it wasn't handled great. I would say that's pretty fair to say. And moving forward, before you go and blow up the whole model, Smylie, I'm a big believer in sports. And I know you big bad Go Tiger LSU fans don't care about anybody else because you have the best program in America and now you've got your coach and you're all happy. But there has to be a David and Goliath in sports. There has to be. Now, does it have to be Tulane, Ole Miss, and JMU and Oregon? No. But in this particular sport, you got to have Bob May at Valhalla. You've got to have Yi Yang at Hazeltine. You've got to have up-and-comers like Bubba Watson slinging it all over the place. You've got to have a rookie like Jordan, a young kid like Jordan Spieth at 21, Smylie Kaufman in the final group with Bubba at Augusta. You've got to have that to go along with the stars. And I'll give you a great example. We both work for NBC. Who wouldn't want to have the Chiefs and Cowboys and get $57 million every single Sunday night? Well, you and I watch every single Sunday night. But after a while, when you see the same people, well, that's not necessarily the greatest. And in team sports, if you saw the same teams every week, that wouldn't be the greatest thing. And I'll give you one last point on the truncated part of the schedule and the scarcity, which is the word we keep hearing all the time, of the PGA Tour calendar. Careful what you wish for.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like, I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going
I'm
to
saying
these
if I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed.
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. They do. Well, somebody's got money.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
In this particular sport, you got to have Bob May at Valhalla. You've got to have Yi Yang at Hazeltine. You've got to have up-and-comers like Bubba Watson slinging it all over the place. You've got to have a rookie like Jordan, a young kid like Jordan Spieth at 21, Smylie Kaufman in the final group with Bubba at Augusta. You've got to have that to go along with the stars. And I'll give you a great example. We both work for NBC. Who wouldn't want to have the Chiefs and Cowboys and get $57 million every single Sunday night? Well, you and I watch every single Sunday night. But after a while, when you see the same people, well, that's not necessarily the greatest. And in team sports, if you saw the same teams every week, that wouldn't be the greatest thing. And I'll give you one last point on the truncated part of the schedule and the scarcity, which is the word we keep hearing all the time, of the PGA Tour calendar. Careful what you wish for. If you drop this thing down to 20 events, and then you've got the 4 majors and the players, but 20 regular season tour events, hypothetically. Well, for the next couple of years, Scotty and Rory are going to win half those events. Scotty's going to win 6 or 7 times. Rory's going to win 3 or 4 times, or a combination of the two. And if they win half the events, look, again, you and I are huge sports fans. When we watch the NBA and we watch the NFL, we know those draft picks coming in because we've seen them play college basketball and we've seen them play college football. They're household names. Golf's not like that. Nobody ever heard of Scotty Scheffler until he was on that Ryder Cup team in 21, and then he got his first win in Scottsdale in 22. Nobody ever heard of Ludwig Oberg at Texas Tech. Nobody ever heard of any of these guys who have been great, except for a guy like Tiger. But that's it. And it doesn't just take coming out on the PGA Tour, Smylie. It takes wins. So if Scotty and Rory are going to eat up half the wins in 2027 and beyond because there's such a small schedule, where does that leave room for guys to come on tour and not just become household names, but become stars, become marketable? You've got to win on the PGA Tour to become a star and become marketable. This is not football and basketball. So I think they need to be careful in that regard as well. So do I like it? No. Is it going to go that way? Sure seems like it, but I'm not so sure that everybody's on board with every single thing that takes place with only a 20-event schedule as opposed to 46.
What were the players saying out at the course? Were they in agreement or disagreement?
They were less than enthused. Let's put it that way.
All right, well,
they want opportunities. Look, again, if you're playing in the Grant Thornton Invitational, you are not Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. You've had a very good year. You're a very good player, but you're not Rory McIlroy or Scotty Scheffler. You got to have places to play. You got to have events to play. You've got to have a chance to win. And by the way, finishing 2nd through 10th is great. It's great for your wallet, and it's nice for your lifestyle. But you're out here to win, and the stars are the ones who win. And you've got to be careful how many opportunities you allow. Jake Knapp is here. He's the defending champion, okay? That kid could be a star. Looks like Fred Couples, acts like Fred Couples, swings like Fred Couples, needs a big win, all right? He's got to have the opportunity to get that big win. If they're eaten up by today's stars just yet, and those guys are kind of pushed down to the side, I'm not so sure that that's not the healthiest thing for golf at the highest level.
Yeah, these young guys need starts. They need volume, opportunities to go and win golf tournaments, because that's what feeds confidence, is winning.
100%.
I agree with it all. We literally just recorded the other day and had the same conversation, and for the most part, we made similar points. So I agree with you on most of it, and definitely something we're gonna have to keep an eye on, Stevie.
It's interesting.
We're gonna keep an eye on it
for sure. It's going to be interesting. I mean, I just hope we're still around, Smylie. I hope they keep letting TV do its thing. You know?
Well, Stevie, I appreciate you coming on, man. We're definitely excited about the Golf Channel games next week. It's going to be next Wednesday, the 16th. Is that
17th?
17th. There we go.
17th.
16th is the rehearsals. It's under the lights. Yes. Late night. Stevie's going to be on the call with Keith. I'm going to be down on the ground, so make sure you go check it out. And Stevie, thanks for coming on, buddy. I appreciate it. We're definitely going to need more Stevie Sands on this podcast. I appreciate you, buddy.
Anytime for you, Smylie. Congratulations on the new baby as well. And one last thing. Now that LSU is no longer in the playoffs, who are we rooting for? Come on. Hoosiers, baby.
Gosh.
IU. Come on. Hoosiers. Scott Sands a big Smylie Kaufman fan right now.
I tell you what, I was so proud of that boy putting a money line ticket down on that sports book. It's you don't see that a lot out of young kids. A lot of times they take the points because they're scared to take money line. But that's when I knew he had a little Stevie in him.
You can't play scared, Smylie. You know that, pal.
That's right. All right, thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Be good.
All right, we thank you to Stevie Sands for coming on the podcast. A lot of fun talking Golf Channel games with him next week. The only thing that we missed this week was talking about some LIV potential signings that didn't happen. There was a rumor of Siwoo Kim and Sung J M heading to the LIV Golf Tour. That has been debunked. Those two guys allegedly are going to be staying on the PGA Tour. So excited to see those guys play next year and potentially at the President's Cup. As we look to future episodes, we're going to have some TGL previews this coming week with some guests. That first match is December 28th, so coming very quickly. So excited to get some previews there, and looking forward to talking to some guests next week. So we'll see you guys soon.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
I'm
these
from a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
They went all in with the Sauce Gardner trade, right? All in. Give you a couple of number 1 picks here. Then Daniel Jones breaks the leg, and then he tears the Achilles. All right, you're signing Phillip Rivers. Are you kidding me? I mean, by the way, you know what hasn't been talked about enough? Sam Ehlinger decided he didn't want to come play for the Colts. Why? You would have been. I know Denver activated him to the roster anyway, but he would have been maybe a starting quarterback this weekend.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.